Right. Namaskar. ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ଆଜିର ଅଧ୍ୟାୟକୁ Odias in machine learning ର ଆଜିର ଅଧ୍ୟାୟକୁ ସ୍ୱାଗତ। ଆଜି ଆମର ମୁଖ୍ୟ ବକ୍ତା ମୁଖ୍ୟ ବକ୍ତା ଶ୍ରୀଯୁକ୍ତ ଗିରୀଶ ସାମଲ ଆମକୁ ଡେଟା ଡ୍ରିଭେନ୍ ଡିସିସନ ମେକିଂ ବିଷୟରେ ଆମକୁ ଆଲୋକପାତ କରାଇବେ ସେ ସବଜେକ୍ଟ ଉପରେ and that subject ସେ ସବଜେକ୍ଟଟି କାହିଁକି ଇମ୍ପୋର୍ଟାଣ୍ଟ ନା ଯେତେବେଳେ artificial intelligence based decision making ଏବେ ଅନେକ advanced stage କୁ ଗଲାଣି, we should see how humans make decisions and who in the space makes decision more than the profiles that we have from Girish Samal bhai. So let's welcome Girish Samal bhai, and I would hand over this session to Saswat Samal for introducing Girish bhai, and he has a pretty good profile. So let's listen from Saswat Samal. So handing over this session to Saswat Samal to conduct this session. Saswat.
Thank you so much, Anjan bhai, for a great introduction. So it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Girish Samal, who is the distinguished speaker for today's webinar, that is data-driven decision making, organized by Odias in ML chapter. So to give a brief background about him, so he belongs to Jaspur district of Odisha, and he's a mechanical engineer graduate with MBA from Latop University, Melbourne. He has also studied PG diploma in data science from International Institute of Technology, Bangalore, and an alumni of IIM Ahmedabad, where he is studying executive program advanced business analytics. Coming over to his experience, so he has a total of 20 years of experience, and at present he is representing Merit Innovative Solution Private Limited in the capacity of head of sales and marketing, where he is responsible for the entire gamut of business and growth. He has also worked as a partnership development for SID at Indian Institute of Science. In his previous assignments, he has worked in senior roles in Fedjob Engineering, Hinduja Technology Solutions, Access Cadet Technologies. Though he started working as an aerospace project engineer at National Aerospace Laboratories, and then working with various automotive companies like Satyam Venture and Ford IT Services as automotive design engineering. His experience is primarily created around customer relationship, strategy, growth, account management, strategic alliance management, partnership development, sales, and marketing areas. Moreover, he has an experience of managing major global relationships such as Boeing in USA, Australia, India, Nissan, that is in India and Japan, Volvo in India and Sweden, Dalmia Group, that is in India and Germany, Bala Group, that is Medtronic, Samsung, Mitsubishi, and more. We are also very much pleased to say that he has worked in various countries such as Australia, New Zealand, Japan, South Korea, Singapore, Germany, the UK, France, Belgium, and the USA. Besides being a successful cooperative, Mr. Samal is a fitness freak and a long distance runner. A very interesting fact about him is that he is a trained nursing assistant and has worked in different hospitals like Melbourne Hospital and Austin Medical College. He loves to write and has created many poems and short stories. Mr. Samal is a certified astrologer. He has got certified in Jyotish Ratna, Jyotish Bhushan, Jyotish Pravin, Jyotish Visarad, and associated with ICAS and AIFA Association in Bangalore chapter. Also, he loves to explore nature and practicing meditation for more than 24 years. He has been into the reclaim of prediction since his early National Aerospace Laboratory days, where he has started working to predict the life of aircrafts and their components. Then he engaged with prediction of strength and stiffness of various automated components before working on predicting the business scenario, and now dived into the mystery of predictive analytics. Today, while speaking about data driven decision making, he will share with us various practical scenarios and challenges, how we can take a help of data analytics to solve those problems with high accuracy that will lead us to adopt precise decision for unlocking the potential of an organization. So I would like to hand over the mic to Mr. Girish to start the session.
Thank you, Saswat, and thank you, Anjan, and I appreciate all of you and your effort to to allow me to take part in this webinar, as well as I really appreciate to all audience here who are taking part and spending their valuable time on a Sunday evening, which is so precious to spend with family, but they have decided to join and attend this seminar. I really appreciate you all, and I really thank all my people who have been attending, all my teachers, dear friends, mentors, colleagues, and others. And I will try to to make it as simple as possible so that this is becoming more and more interesting, and you can understand it. So let's start this, and we will see how data is impacting our life. And I will primarily take you through the discussion, take you through just a moment. Yeah. I will take you through my experience and insight that I have gained out of working in this field for last 20 years. And with this, we start like, जय जगन्नाथ and namaskar समस्त ओडिशा भाई और भौणी मानक मोर सादर प्रणाम. And our Odia society is rooted, deep rooted through Jagannath culture. And many people say that, or it is true that many people don't take breakfast even before taking bath in the morning. So that is how pious is the Odisha culture. And we are a peace-loving sect, and our spiritual culture is rooted to Jagannath culture, and to our cultural heritage, and the Sun Temple Konark, and the Odissi dance, that cultural heritage that we have, and everything rotates around this. We are highly influenced by this. And I really appreciate and take this as an opportunity to thank all for this opportunity, especially Odisha, Odias in ML Society. And we will now go to the mainstream of presentation. I will take you through. We have very short time, like 30 minutes is a very short time for such a huge topic. But nevertheless, we will try to manage the timing as effectively as possible. And primarily, I will be speaking in English. And in case there is any doubt you have in between, kindly wait till the end, and we can have a meaningful discussion, interesting discussion then. So my topic would be including the initial part of it is ingredients of individual decision making, data driven decision making. Then what do you mean by data driven decision making? What are the advantages of data driven decision making? I have included few examples which are successful examples for data driven decision making. And there are mistakes we must avoid in order to go for a data driven decision making journey. It is very important, we should be aware of that. And how an organization can become a more data driven. And this portion, like the following portion, will be including practical scenarios. Like I will be talking about few scenarios where there would be business challenges, day-to-day business challenges, and how we are um, attempting to provide a solution using data science techniques. So there are three such examples or stories I'll be talking about, and then it will be followed by a live example, that is how Nissan Motor is doing globally, how they are using data for unlocking the business potential of Nissan Motors. And then I will conclude, and I will also share some references that I have followed in order to prepare this. So before we go to the mainstream, let's enjoy some time here, and I hope uh, just 1 second. I have to share this. Correct.
Hello, Delhi. Hello, Mary. Hello. Hello. Okay. Hello. Hello.
डैड
हाँ.
वो मुझे दिख गई
अरे कौन दिख गई?
माय काइंड ऑफ गर्ल
Well, I think we are back again, and after this nice Bollywood song, I think you would be wondering that what is the intention of having this beautiful musical rhythms. So the idea is we need to observe here and analyze that what is going on here. I mean, there is a girl who is going and stopping by the roadside. There is a problem to her car, and she finds that there are people, maybe street side boys and girls, they are dancing in the rain. And the girl decided to come out of her car and to take part in that dancing. And she really danced well and danced her heart out. So we need to see what actually compelled her to take a decision like this, like the irresistible attraction. And could it be simplicity? Could it be innocent? And could it be using an opportunity? And is he so passionate about it? Is it that culture which is, just influencing him and enticing her that, okay, well, this is a nice opportunity, so why don't I enjoy? So these are few things that that come to my mind, that we must observe the situations around us to study a little bit and see that how things are really happening. What are the factors that are actually, propelling us to take some decision or take any decision for that matter. I will share with you a story. Just a few weeks back, we went to Ahmedabad, a city in India, and there, in fact, we were a group of friends, and I decided in the middle of the night that we must go there. This is the flight we need to choose, and we chose Indigo Airline. And the idea is, why should we go Indigo Airline? Always there is a risk that if there is another airline, is it that time is on, they are on time, they are economical, are they as clean as Indigo? Are they having direct connections? Are they reliable? Or is it Indigo which is, better service provider? We had a discussion, we had a mutual understanding that considering all those things, there is a flexibility in their, rescheduling. So we decided to go for Indigo Airlines, be it Indigo or be it, Emirates, which provides like a huge varieties of entertainment, or be it service, be it food quality. We take decision based on different factors. So that means our decision making is always biased by different factors, be it commitment, be it our prejudice, or be it a brand that we are associated, be it our emotional situation that is compelling us to take a decision the way we are taking. So all these things are compelling and playing as a factor to, take some, to help us to decide something. And primarily these are intuitive and individual decision making. So we will now try to see that what data-driven decision making is, and how it is different to intuitive decision making, how best we can go to decide or take business decisions primarily. And under this section I will cover what is data-driven decision making, what are the advantages of data-driven decision making, successful data-driven decision making examples, and data-driven making mistakes that we must avoid, and how to make an organization more data-driven. And if you see, this data-driven decision making is the process of making decision based on hard data. It is not based on our whims and fancy or the way we feel, believe, or intuitive pushing us. It is only based on data, backed by data. And the modern analytical tools, we take help of them to create a scenario where they can analyze the situation, and they can help our decision making to be more precise and pinpointed. And this also involves the kind of, or the volume of data that we get. And they are of two types, quantitative and qualitative. And quantitative would be the kind of numeric stuff like numbers, matrices, those things, whereas qualitative could be a kind of intangible, or maybe the qualitative aspect of data, say sentiment analysis kind of things. So both these types of data we need to analyze in order to take a smart business decision. So here, before I came to data-driven decision making, I assume that the audience or majority of audience is aware of this. So we are actually trying to go straight, fast forward to data-driven decision making. And what are the advantages of data-driven decision making? It helps in an improvement of company's performance. It helps in continual improvement and growth. It always helps our decision making to be better and at an increased speed of decision making. It helps us to get into new business opportunities. The insights that we derive, actionable insights and the intelligence, it helps to get into new businesses. And definitely it reduces cost, like going and spending time and money, effort on many things. We are now pinpointed and analyzing or taking decisions based on that. So based on this data-driven ideas. And it helps us, sharpening our communication. We know the segment we want to communicate. We know what we need to communicate to that specific segment as well. So it helps in a lot of things. Eventually, okay, there is some noise coming. Can someone please mute that side? So in a whole, that it helps us to build a competitive advantage compared to our competitors, and it gives a long-term goal and long-term competitive mileage to us in order to succeed in our business. So what are the examples? There are actually plenty of examples available, and be it company-wise, like many companies. These are few companies came to my mind. I thought to choose, but nevertheless, there are many activities, like be it selecting a leader from the team, or be it driving sales and devising marketing strategy, be it cost-efficient hiring of our HR team, or be it market research, like how do we position when we launch a new product, like which segment, and what should be the pricing, what should be the timing of launch, what should be the areas. So all these positioning strategies for a new product, it helps us. And these are the examples. And organizational efficiency improvement is a overall improvement that we get. And improving our quality standards. If you see in production, there are a lot of samples they fail. So we can improve working on some, manufacturing analytics areas. How do we improve that? So these are few examples I thought to touch upon. But nevertheless, we must know when we are talking to go about making our decision making data driven, we must know what are the mistakes we should avoid. It is very essential to know the quality of the data that we are getting. We should not over reliance on our past experience. We should approach with a free mind. It is essential to go with your gut, but cooking the data, if you go always like that, There is anyway a slide will talk about the importance of gut and intuition over the data towards the end could be, but you should be free of that in order to avoid, or in order to have effective data-driven decision making. So there are cognitive biases as we saw it. We should be, out of that influences, and which visualization techniques we should use. That is important for us to know as well. So now we'll go to that, how to be a data-driven decision making. How do we become a more data-driven? So could be we need to define the clear objectives, like uh, like define the clear objective. We want to do what we want to do, how we want to do, collect the relevant data that are useful to us, and the right pattern that we want to draw as an insight, and the data management and data processing. We need to have a robust data management and data processing system in place. These are two important tasks we must have, before we start or before we make it pro. And we must actually analyze the data step by step for deriving actionable insights. And measuring the accuracy and the repeat is also important. That we should do time and again in order to make organization more data driven. So data driven decision making is a continuous process. We have to work and rework as well. We have to come back and see our plan and strategy. How do we work? Are we aligned to the objective? If there is any corrective action we need to take, we need to do that. So with this, I tried to give you a kind of background about data decision making criteria, or the advantages, or the examples, or the mistakes we should avoid, or how do we take proactive actions in order to make an effective organization which is going to be more and more data driven. Now let's talk about some practical scenarios and decision making challenges. So I have chosen 3 case studies. So the first one is too much, too little. This is focusing on operation management. There is a business challenge that we have in hand. Jenny, who owns a medium-sized pastry shop, and that runs full of its capacity. During a sudden demand, say during the Christmas or a festive occasion, it is challenging for Jenny to decide how many cakes of each variety should she bake. If she produces less, if she produces less than the demand, she would lose out potential business. And if she produces more, then since this product is a kind of perishable, she ends up with a substantial discount and loss. So either way, it is either a potential benefit or a potential loss. So the challenge is what should be the optimum quantity of production to avoid too much or too little, the kind of degree of uncertainty attached to the business. So the insights that we see here, that if she goes for underproduction, that means not able to meet the demand, there is an opportunity loss. And if she goes for overproduction, there is a salvaged price. She has to, sell those who are unsold items, even that is at a lower price than the cost price. That is a loss. And the production quantity in such scenarios cannot be quick enough to meet the sudden increases in demand. Like you cook and serve in an hour or so, it is not possible. Demand and supply levels are not very clearly known in advance here. So these are the challenges, insights that we derive from the problem. And the main problem is how do you optimize the loss as well as profit. So we have taken help of a technique called marginal rule, which is also popularly called news vendor model, in which optimal product quantity that maximizes the profit would need. We need to go for that. And that needs demand forecast and its distribution. And Jenny uses historical data for past 3 years. And if she wants to go for an additional quantity, additional unit of product, then she has to study the marginal benefit and marginal loss and find the optimal quantity would be that one where, it meets, the intersecting point O, which is the point she should think of. So what did we do here? We approached by collecting historical data for the last few years to create a demand forecasting. And then we employed marginal rule, that is mathematical technique, to find the expected marginal benefit, marginal loss, hence the optimal quantity. And then we took the decision like what could be the optimal quantity of production. And this model is used substantially in revenue management of airlines. This is also used in hotel industries as well to optimize their fooding. Now we go to next story, putting your eggs in different baskets. So this is a financial decision. All of us we know that if you want to invest in two different stocks, so what could be the situation where you will like to get better return versus risks? So say Sapna is an avid investor and is investing in major Indian banks, and during the subprime crisis, her investment is almost wiped out. So she's now wondering like what should she do in order to maximize her return while minimizing the risk. So the insights we get that here, this is called portfolio management. This kind of analysis involves even interdependent or covariance. These are not standalone cases. And there are situations or stocks where they are contradictory to each other. One price goes up while the other price may go down as well. And in order to hedge her investment, she has to diversify her portfolio, properly so that the loss is least and the benefit is max. So what does she do? She invests based on the knowledge, prejudice, or maybe her intuition, or maybe following TV news forecast and all, and that doesn't work well. And the risk-taking ability of an individual investor is also important, and the time related to this is also important. So how do we solve this? Like using mathematical techniques. We have used here modern portfolio theory, which talks about or which helps us to classify the stocks. Consider if you see the figure 1 in your right hand side where risk is involved, say there is a curve which is showing about stock A and stock B, that is 0.4. These are the points these stocks are invested. And stock A has a certain degree of return and risk, whereas stock B has very high percentage of return, whereas the risk is substantially high as well. But there are points 2 and 3, if you see, where there is a composition of stocks. Like at point 1, say we talk about at point 2, we talk about say 30% of stock A, 70% of stock B comprises her portfolio. Whereas in 3.3, it is actually like 60-70% of stock A, say 30% of stock B. And if you draw the line X and Y, which is intersecting the curve, if you see the point X where the composition of one stock A and stock B, whatever return they give, and the point Y, whatever the return they give, the composition, return is substantially different, whereas the risk is same. So in that case, you are advisable to go for the composition at point Y. So these are different calculations we do. And if you see the risk-free zone in figure B, figure 2, there is a green line Z. If you are investing in that zone, those stocks are free of risks. So what did we do here? Approach. Say Sapna spends or invests equally in both stock A and B, say 50% each. So she gets like return as a weighted average from stock A and stock B. And in order to know the risk, she has to find a correlation coefficient, which is related to the covariance and standard of deviations as well. So based on correlation, which varies from -1 to 1, she can decide whether the stocks are moving in tandem in the same direction or in opposite direction. Do they have the relationship at all, or they are completely uncorrelated? So based on that, she can take a decision where to invest and where not to invest, how to maximize the return while minimizing the risk. So we'll go here quickly. I mean, the time is running. So this is unlocking purchasing pattern. So a certain supermarket is thinking to increase its sales revenue by identifying loyal customers and positioning its marketing strategy to reward and retain them, and while growing the sales. So what do they need to do? What is the best way to revise this marketing strategy? How to unlock the entire or maybe business value of this supermarket by employing mathematical techniques. So what do we derive insights here? When we go to supermarket, we purchase different things. Sometimes, many times, in fact, we purchase similar stuff. So say when we buy bread, we go for eggs or we go for milks. And depending or studying this associated product buying behavior of customer, so the supermarket or people can be clubbed into different buckets or baskets. And based on their purchase history, they are linked to that basket, and then a specific marketing strategy can be devised. So how we are doing it? So we are now employing market basket analysis or association analysis technique. We are clubbing the products together and groups or buckets. Then each individual person, we are assessing them based on their purchasing behavior. And there are few terms here: support, confidence, and lift. These are the ratios calculated to find out, how this behavior, to unlock this behavior. Okay, so market basket analysis is a purely data mining technique we use, and where retailers find out, and it helps them to understand the customer's purchasing pattern, and it helps them to create the strategy or devise the strategy accordingly. So I have taken a further, one example. Say we discussed or we clubbed these kind of products to analyze this behavior pattern, and over a total transaction of 2000 times. And we found there is an association between mobile phone and the screen guards. And when we go to see that, when somebody called, antecedent, somebody buys mobiles, then as a consequence, he also ends up buying a screen guard. So if we consider 2000 times of transactions, we see individually mobiles are purchased 200 times, and most screen guards 160 times, mobile plus screen guard 120 times. Based on that, we find support using the mathematical technique, confidence, and lift. And then if support is less than 50%, this association is not fruitful. And confidence gives us an idea that how effective is our rule or model that we are working. And based on the lift ratio, we can decide whether this is a random process, or it is even less than random, or it is a kind of process which is driving the customer, where lift ratio is greater than 1, that is of our maximum interest. And based on this lift ratio, supermarkets can decide to give discounts on the consequent, so which will help them to sell, more and more. So 200 sales of mobile units can end up with 200 sales of, that is screen guard as well. So with this, I finished a few case studies. Now we'll go to Nissan Motors case, how they are using data. So I have taken actually
we have a very simple, we have a very simple mission. We have a very simple mission.
Small videos of Mr. Devrisi Sahani, who is Global Head of Customer Experience Data and Analytics in Nissan. And they make a tool called CIDAR, Customer Experience Data Analytics Report. And they are substantially working on data analytics applications since 2017 onwards. So let's hear from him. What are they doing? What are they doing?
We have a very simple mission, which is to make data useful. So like you said earlier, that, in terms of, it's what data to look for, it just depends on like, what can we make useful? Is that data that we can actually turn into actionable insights and so forth? So with no shortage of the data, by taking one step at a time to making that useful is what is helping us drive that data-driven revolution. There to organize it, and both how the team is organized as well as the core pillars of the strategy, the three core pillars of the strategy: measure, optimize, and predict.
Now we go to the next video. Like they did measure, optimize, and predict using these 3 stages of data they get to derive actionable insights, measure and optimize it, and then predict.
There's 2 parts of it: making it useful both for Nissan as well as for customers.
So when you ask this question, I think of it in two ways: that what can Nissan do now, but also what can customers do now? And I think and the nub of that, the cross section of both those things is that how the customers can engage with Nissan better, because that has the benefit on both ends, right? We want our customers to engage with us better, and that basically gives us that longer term. The real fruit of that engagement is that they will, continue on their journey with us. And from a customer standpoint, that is basically what we're trying to take away, is that frustration to see that if they can engage better. So in one simple sort of generic way is that they can engage with us better.
Okay, all right. I hope you enjoyed this as well. And let's go to the concluding slide. There is no example, I think, in my opinion, can depict or helps you to understand better than this traffic management. So without knowing this GPS or without help of GPS data, we take a feeling like let's follow whatever route we know. But if we follow the GPS, it shows that this is the best or optimized traffic path that we should follow to reach at our destination. So this is what it is. And if you see, I conclude saying that whether the intuition or intuition has an upper hand than data-driven decision making, but there are always situations like balance situation. As per Albert Einstein, the intuitive mind is a gift, whereas Steve Jobs also realized, not only saying this, he realized when he came to India that you must have that power of intuition of Indian society. And he also said, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. And they somehow already know what you want to become. So with this, I say that though intuition can be helpful too, but it would be a mistake to base all our decisions around a mere gut feel. So this is what I feel, and we must drive towards it. And if you want to dive deep into this, I followed substantially this book that is written by Professor Arnav Laha. I am Ahmedabad professor, and this book clearly, explains all these examples I gave. At least two from that I have chosen. In fact, a very good book, very good book. This is a book it is lucidly explained all the underlying techniques. And I did refer to so many books and websites as well, including Gartner or Forbes or maybe these two books. And, I really acknowledge them. And this is all. And now I think we can go for a question answer session. Any question from anybody? We are ready to take it down. There is a question from somebody, Mr. Giridhar Bola, who has said that, can you please post here, Mr. Bola? We can take it up. Or you want to unmute yourself? You can do, I think, try.
I can see one question from Kumar. So he says, hello Girish, good evening, Vaibhav here. I am working as an application analyst for talent acquisition at SC. My question is to you, what is that machines can decide, and what is that the humans can? Where is the clear demarcation? Can you please shed some light on this?
Okay, so let me read that out as well. Somewhere I have video is paused. Yeah, so my question is, what is that machines can decide and what is that humans can? And where there is a demarcation that we should draw demarcation. In fact, I say that whatever these artificial intelligences and artificial intelligence data-driven analytics techniques we use, But without humans, it is not. A human only devised that. There is a Harvard article I went through a few days back, if I recall. There are different management options to control the AI decisions by human beings. So if you can loop in or some sort of you can intervene in some models based on the outcomes, and that way you can do, and you can also see uh, human in the loop for exceptions, they say as well, and human on the loop, human in the loop, and then there are cases like human out of the loop. Out of the loop is the case where you see, decide, and you see and decide and then interfere. But however, when there is a situation of uncertainty, I think human intervention is more important than data. So that is where machines should be working less than human beings. There is another question I will take from Giridhar. Can you tell us how deterministic models are different from the probabilistic model? Well, I think deterministic model, as its name suggests, it is a kind of a certainty, degree of certainty involved in this, and where we know the situation very clearly, and this is mostly based on operation related, and this is a very clear-cut scenario or situation where we can take the decision. Here, randomness is not involved. Whereas in probabilistic situation or models, that includes randomness. Every time you run the model, you get different outcomes or solutions. So that is where the probabilistic model is used. So deterministic models can be simple, and it can be used when random variation is not there. Whereas probabilistic model is used where there is random variation, and the accuracy will be less compared to deterministic approach. I hope I replied to you, Mr. Bolo. Yeah, there is another question from Swagata that database decision always correct. Is it that a database decision always correct? So again, I think I touched that point. When there is a degree of uncertainty, your data or maybe the rules that you devised or the analytics models algorithm is based on your data. And if your data is incorrect or the variables are not very much going to rule to go forward, then there is a very likelihood of getting wrong predictions. And of course, depending on the situations, variables, and the way they behave, you have to define or devise your algorithm, and based on that, you get output. However, when the situation is very uncertain, it becomes very difficult to have a control over your variables, and so is the outcome. So in that case, I think degree of accuracy would be difficult to gauge. So I think this is what is your question, that database decision is always correct. Answer could be no, or maybe when it depends on the situation. But when there is a degree of uncertainty, I think accuracy level is questionable. I hope I replied to Sagata you as well. And there is a question from someone, Jay, that is man versus machine. Man often gets influenced by surroundings while making decisions. Even at the last moment, decision can be changed. While in case data is corrupt, machine works better. No, when data is corrupt, machine cannot work better. But as you told in your first half of your query, of course, we discussed and went through those biases. They are cognitive and intuitive based biases like prejudice, risk, situation, fear, emotional attachment, or maybe knowledge, your intellect level, your reasoning level, your ego. All those things play a role as a bias. So that is where we are. If we cut that out of a human being, the decision you take is more precise and data centric. That is where your machine is. It will be like reflecting, or machine works in that way. We cut. Machine doesn't have emotion. So it takes decision based on data. That is how the data is effective there. There is another question Amit is asking. We have different models for data analytics for events having sufficient data points. What about events of which data points are not available? In fact, there are actually situations, where we thought few years back, we thought could be a big data situation will help us. But recently, we are talking more and more about, there is a post I posted in LinkedIn. If you see that, like, a small contextual data has more meaning and relevance than big data. So in future, investing in big data requires a lot of investment. Whereas, going for investing in small contextual data, the infrastructure cost substantially gets reduced. So that way, if you see, small contextual data is more important. And as you told, when data points are less available or maybe not readily available, we have to use different machine learning techniques. We have, say, supervised, unsupervised, semi-supervised. We have to employ accordingly whose model is suitable. But it is possible that even you don't have much, data points, many data points, you can still find a solution. I hope I addressed your question, Amit. Any more question is there? We are ready to take up. We have some more time we can stretch.
There are some raised hands. I see Manoranjan Das has a raised hand. If they may please type the question or,
Yes, sir. We welcome you. Please share your question in chat window. We'll try to, answer it.
okay, maybe it's a gesture which is just.
Okay, so we appreciate the Giridhar as well, like Giridhar, Amit, Sagata, and all others who had questions, and also Vaibhav. Any more questions? No? Okay, so it was really good, and there is some more hands, like if we can look at it. If you can type your message, please.
Can you
So,
put the slide with the book once again on the screen, please?
What is that?
Yeah, someone was asking the name of the book, so I was telling that if you could put that slide with the book.
All right. So I'll be happy. That is written by my professor, and I will share with you right now. Just a moment. I hope it is visible now. Right, Saswat? Is it visible?
Yes, but it is visible.
This book talks about, this is a very small book. In fact, let me share with you my experience. I opened this book at 2 o'clock night, 2 a.m. By 3:30, I finished half of the book. And then next day, like it was so irresistible. I really appreciate the profession, in fact, and it is so irresistible. Next day, in another 2 hours, I completed entire book. Then I went through again, like, well, this is such an interesting book, and the case studies are so live and practical. It really gives you, and it also goes very deep as well technically. And one chapter I have explained in 2 slides. So it is a mammoth task to explain that, but I have done only very less thing. I mean, just surface level. But the way it is written is amazing, amazing. A lot of opportunities you get to learn from this, and I hope you should go. This is Penguin publication, and it's 300 rupees. So it's very much affordable. Really good book.
Girishbhai, there is a question in the chat from Henry from Nigeria. You might want to take that, or some of the aspiring.
This kind of and I'll be happy to take that up. We welcome you, Henry, to attend this and your interest. You are a budding data scientist. You want to be. That is great and great for us to hear. And the interest. Of course, you can be there, but whatever may be your background, if your basics are clear and you have at least some level of education, certainly this can be an inspiring area to focus and grow. Learn some specific techniques and spend some time and keep a window of, like you want to get it done, achieve it within a time of say 2, 3, 4 years. Don't expect it is like a magic wand, just to do this, you get the result. You have to really learn it. Once you enter into it, you will know that there is a lot of things, but it's very interesting. And certainly you can, first you please go through few websites, few books, and free materials as well. And there are websites like Udemy, and there are a lot of opportunities, free courses these days. Many institutes are providing, including many top Indian institutes as well. You can certainly do that. Yeah. This is Abhijit. Thank you for writing professor's name. And yes, you're right.
So to the audience, thank you very much. Especially to the teachers. If I hear that there are professors in this audience as well, so thank you so much, and respects to you. You have been driving the knowledge forward. Thank you, Girishbhai. It was a great session. I personally enjoyed the models, and I know this is a cream that you presented, and I know the charm that has gone into presenting this, so I respect that, Girishbhai. There are a few people whose names I must call out, like Abhijit Pareda. He is a data scientist, and he has been the backbone of running Odias in machine learning, community.
Just 1 second, Anjan. Professor Laha is present here. So if you don't mind, can I take, sir, your 2 minutes to talk about the topic? Just 2 minutes to such an audience.
We would love to listen from him, Professor Laha. We would love to listen from him. Please bring him under the spotlight and give him the floor.
Sir, namaste.
So excellent presentation, Girish. So very well thought out and wonderfully presented. I enjoyed your talk. So it is always a privilege to hear one of your, I will not use the word students, but one of our participants talk on a topic on which we have discussed in class.
Student is a better word, I think, most appropriate.
So I saw some of the questions that were being raised, and some of them are very interesting. And I think I'll just sort of highlight some of the things that already Girish has mentioned. So I saw a point in which someone asked that, are database decisions always correct? Well, there's a beautiful book now by Daniel Kahneman, which is called Noise. And in this book, Daniel Kahneman demonstrates how fallible we are as humans in taking decisions. Particularly in the same situation, if you put a couple of people to take that decision, all of them may arrive at a different decision. We see that happen quite often in medicine, where you go to different doctors, and different doctors give you different diagnoses. Slightly different, or sometimes even significantly different. So in structured situations, machines may be able to do better, but the decision will always have a chance. So it is not that all data-driven decisions will be absolutely accurate, but the probability of accuracy would increase as the system learns. And I think that is something that we need to take care of. So it is a field, I think it's a wonderful initiative from the Odias in ML to organize this kind of workshops. I think this is the way to go. And I congratulate the organizers for doing this. And I think a lot of people would benefit through the interactions. And one thing that I get asked so often is that, will ML going to take away human jobs? The answer is partly yes, partly no. So yes, it will take away some routine jobs. It will create a lot more new jobs. So I think through such interactions, you are making way for the new job takers. So this will build new talent and new kinds of jobs which will emerge, which we cannot even possibly think right now. So I think I thank you for taking this initiative and making ML more popular across the country.
Sir, we appreciate your kind involvement and time here and giving some so valuable inputs, encouraging inputs. It really encourages, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I will stop now.
Absolutely, sir. We are honored by your presence. Thanks for gracing this occasion. And thanks, Girish Bhai, to introduce Professor Laha into this, I would say, family, a community that we grow. Silence everywhere. I mean, I would probably go to thinking round. That should I do the most. Sasot Samal, thanks for hosting this, and we expect this not to be a local optima, but it's an emerging global optima. So we'll see that. And Sasot Dabadat, representing Avinno Odia. So thanks for streaming. Thanks for giving this streaming. And I will be hanging around for some time, probably with Avijit, Sasot, and it has been an insightful presentation by Girish Bhai, and probably substantiated by Professor Laha. So thank you so much, Girish Bhai. Yeah. So. Of course, it's a challenging time. It's an interesting time as well. So everybody stay safe. And I think the floor, should we make that into an open mic?
Yes, we can make it, no problem. Whoever are in can participate, talk, ask, and explain as well.
All right. I mean, yeah, to the hosts, to the anchor, like if anyone is raising hands, please allow them to chat, or if they want to speak, unmute them, and let's welcome, let's listen from the.
Okay, so anybody wants to speak, like from audience? There are so many people I'm seeing now, and many people from my classmates, they are also present here. And I wish, if you want to speak or have anything to say, please do that.
Manoranjan Das, I saw him raised hands, but I'm not seeing him now.
Yeah.
Please, Siboham Samal, Anand V. Kalanbhar. Hello, Anand. I'm not sure if you want to say something.
I'm Anand here. I'm Girish Kali, working in Merit, and it was really a good pleasure to have a lecture from Girish and Professor Arnab, and also the Odisha ML arranging this program. Really, it is given a good foundation or a startup for the understanding on data analytics and how to take a decision. Yeah, I wish you.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Success. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else wants to speak? Please unmute yourself, and we welcome you to speak. Few minutes we'll spend, and If you can have any discussion, question. Rohitji, you want to speak something? Rohitji. Maybe Praveen, you want to speak something? Praveen Kumar? I think Sunilji could do something. Okay. All right. So I think if we want, we can continue or we can wrap up.
Girishji, I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Most of the time we listen to our heart, but the decision based on the data, it helps us to make a right decision. But sometimes there will be confusion between whether to go with the heart or on the data. Which one you prefer to go ahead?
I think as Steve Jobs said, or be it Albert Einstein, there is a textbook approach, which is traditional approach. Whatever modern humanity, whatever they do, they do. But there may not be any replacement to the, kind of the ideas or intuition we are blessed with. And to supplement that, we can take help of data. So in order to make our decision more precise, more pinpointed, a more faster response, data can help. But let's have intuition side by side and study the situation and take the decision. But as Professor Laha said, when the situation becomes very fluid and uncertain, and there are different, like for example, COVID prediction for Indian community is so dynamic. I don't agree with anybody, any prediction would hold here good, because there are so many factors. Many people have taken different vaccines from childhood, and the cultural culture here, and the kind of food habits here, the kind of climate here, or the way we live, the way we have been working, or the way our family values, all these things, if you put it together and make a mixture, that becomes so complicated. It's very difficult to predict. And in that kind of situation, intuitive could be the best idea to go about. But if you have data behind that, so your decision becomes more precise.
Thank you, Girishji.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else want to share something, your knowledge? We are also happy to listen from you as well. Right. I think we should wrap up.
Silence. Yeah, silence is the answer.
But trust me, we really enjoyed. I enjoyed definitely, and on behalf of Odias in ML, we really enjoyed, and we really welcome. We'll have more and more such occasions, and I hope in future maybe we'll go beyond this. We'll invite people, distinguished people like you guys, all participants, also professors and other distinguished people, to take part in this kind of meaningful discussions. And as a society, it helps in a many way, in a multitude way, for different things we can really discuss and find out and help our society to grow. So we'll do that. We look forward to your association more and more. Thank you very much. We wind up.
Thank you.
Thank
Back
you.
to the anchor.
Your kind time.
Yes, bye.
Saswat, yes.
So thank you so much everyone for tuning in tonight, and very special thanks to Girish Samal and Arnab Lana for coming in and conducting this great session. Thank you to all the audience, and special thanks to Odias in ML community, and Abhinav Bhai or Saswat Devadatta Bhai for streaming this. So with this, I would like to stop this session here, and I guess everyone is fine and will be fine in this during this pandemic. Thank you so much. Jai Jagannath.